These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? We're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
Pour some sugar on me. Oh, in the name of love, pour some sugar on me. Come on, fire me up.
These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 9 of America's Barley Basket, where I, Marlin Wells, and he, Nathan Folsabach, talk about The Simpsons and only The Simpsons. Hello,
Nathan. Nothing else. Hello, Marlin.
How are you, bud?
You know what? I can't say I could be any better. We're living in I would say a shitty, boring sequel to like a Mad Max. There's not enough cool shit happening, but it's like, I don't know. Everything's kind of terrible, but you know what? I don't know. I thought we both sounded great singing a little Def Lep on that intro.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're trying to make bright spots where we can.
Yeah, and I think we've discussed this. Def Leppard is definitely my favorite of the hair metal bands. I like the music still, but there's a lot of nostalgia.
I've never been much of a fan. They are the first band that pops into my head when someone says the phrase hair metal or
that
refers to, and especially when they refer to hair metal in a derogatory manner. I'm like, oh, Def Leppard, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think
I've never been a huge fan.
And to their credit, I guess, I think they predate. Well, I know they do. They predate hair metal. I think they had a couple albums in the very late 70s. They were kind of I don't know if they were considered part of that first wave of British metal, but kinda. And then I just think they realized we want to have concerts that aren't full of fat 19-year-old dudes farting all over everything. I'd like to be able to have sex with somebody once. That would be terrific. Because we have discussed this before. No one farts worse than people at a hard rock concert.
Accurate. They really fart with purpose.
It's just so. You know what I look like. You know what I eat. You know that I probably have terrifying farts too. But I don't unleash 15-minute farts during concerts. These guys have bowel infections. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
We just want to tell them to lay down. They shouldn't be at a concert.
Well, thank God we had bands like Def Leppard to bring some feminine energy to the whole experience.
God bless them.
Yeah, if you put a gun to my head and made me choose a favorite hair metal band, it might vary by the day. It's kind of a revolving top 3 of Warrant and Twisted Sister and probably Motley Crue.
Yeah, Motley Crue's got some jams, and I never really enjoyed their music, but I do like Dee Snider as a human. He kind of seems clever and fun, and they always kind of looked like they could be in the mix for the U.S. tag team belt in the late 80s in the NWA. Kind of like a shitty Sting Ultimate Warrior. No, they really went for it with the makeup. It was more face paint.
They did, yes. It's way more face paint. They're closer to Kiss than they are glam.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, that is. Yeah, that could see them fighting with the Fantastics.
This week it's Twisted Sister versus the Von Erichs.
At the Omni. The Dallas Sportatorium.
Come on down to the Cow Palace and see if Dee Snider can hold on to his belt.
In a brass knuckles match, Gino Hernandez and Eric Embry meet Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister taking on the Rock and Roll Express with Jim Cornette at ringside.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette thwacking Dee Snider in the schnoz with a fucking tennis racket.
Meant to happen.
I'd watch that. I'd watch that all day.
Yes, I would. As would I.
Yeah, I do like your comparisons of we're in an apocalypse, but kind of a shitty one. It's not this is for sure the end, but it's not nearly as it's less Road Warrior and more Resident Evil as far as quality of apocalypse goes.
Not nearly enough cool go-karts, because if I know my apocalypse movies, there's going to be kick-ass go-karts everywhere.
Yep.
And not enough cool leather daddy bondage uniforms. I'm still in basketball shorts, but I am not. There's no leather dog collar. I don't have half my head shaved. It's maybe it's me. Maybe I need to look in the mirror. What can I do to make this a better apocalypse?
I'm going to need you to be solution-oriented and not problem-oriented.
Thank you.
Nathan.
Someone needs to hold my feet to the fire.
I'm going to need you to go out and get yourself a leather hat and a Rob Halford chest harness.
Yeah.
And get out there and really make something of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, do I need both hands? Lop off one, tie a meat cleaver to it. Boom. Kick-ass, bad.
See? Yeah. Now we're talking.
I'm a henchman then. Like, I can lurch with the best of them. I have the genetic ability to be a henchman.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I can linger.
Agree.
I can linger in the shadows. I'm so good at lingering, Marlin.
You can leer. I can see you leer.
Boy, dude, I have beady eyes.
Uh-huh. And you get the lip snarl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I can see you leering.
Yeah.
You might not be the head cannibal, but you'll definitely be the one peeking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
Looking at the last of the survivors.
Yeah, licking my lips and rubbing my hands together like hungry people in cartoons are wont to do. And speaking of cartoons,
The Simpsons.
Let's discuss the one we're contractually obligated to discuss.
Yes. We got our flim flam out of the way there.
Yeah.
Let's dive into The Simpsons. We're in season 3. We're watching episodes 6 through 10 of season 3. A hell of a batch.
Yeah,
if I'm not telling tales out of school here.
I think we're into the prime cuts now, Marlin. Like,
it sure feels like it. It feels like every episode is at least good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think none of these anyway have dipped below good.
I think we're in for about, I'd say, 5 to 6, maybe 7 seasons of all floaters, no sinkers. I think we're looking at that right now.
On the terrorist threat level chart, these never go below a yellow.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to judge all these from now on. Boy, I think, because we got about 20 seasons of green coming up.
From what I understand,
this spring is going to be really going to earn our stripes.
Yeah, it's from what I understand. And you know what? I bet, like, knowing what I know about fandoms, like, I bet that the people who we hear talk shit about seasons like 11 through current, I bet they're not that bad through fresh eyes. Because
so much of it, it's the experience that was where they were at when they experienced those episodes. They were 12 years old, man. They're in a very well-conditioned basement with a rec room with nice carpeting. They got all the Capri Suns they could drink. His mom's taking care of them. Mom's taking care of those kids. Oh, they got snacks. They got the Sunny D if they want. Oh man, Lunchables everywhere. Tits deep in Lunchables. Some Teddy Grahams. Oh, and now, season 12 rolls around. You're 23 years old. You're in a shitty apartment with 3 dudes that smell like farts. You didn't finish college, and even if you did, you were getting a fucking English lit degree. What are you going to do with that shit for brains? You don't deserve good Simpsons.
You're jaded at that point. The world has ruined you. You're working part-time at 2 different gas station chains, just trying to keep a roof over your head. Of course, you're not going to sit down on a Sunday and enjoy The Simpsons. You're going to think back to, these old ones were way better. It's the same thing you see among Metallica fans. They're like, after those first 4 albums, throw them in the garbage. No, those later albums are fine.
Man, this is a discussion for another day. Is Saint Anger worth listening to?
No, Saint Anger's garbage. They're right about Saint Anger.
Did I have a bad bike accident? But that came up, I remember thinking, this sounds broken.
Saint Anger, absolute trash.
Yeah. But everything else,
I'll stand by Load and about half of Reload. Yeah. But
I went to a Pomida, which is a discount department store in the upper Midwest in the 90s. I paid $20 for Load on CD because I couldn't wait to drive to a town big enough that would have it at a reasonable price. It's like, I need to hear King Nothing tonight.
I maintain that Load is very good. Reload, it's fine. But
when that Until It Sleeps music video came out, I was like, this is the shit. This is cool. It was like
Until It Sleeps is a great song.
Yeah.
Ronnie's a fucking great song.
Yeah, there's some decent deep cuts on that album too, yeah.
Yeah, but no, these people who are just like, nope, after, what are the four? Kill them all, lightning, justice, and puppets. And everything other than that, murr.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you just love those because you were 15 at the time.
Exactly. Are you telling me your grubby little ass didn't play the shit out of the Black Album? Yeah, man, you've heard Enter Sandman 475,000 times. We all have. Those first 10 times, pretty fucking tight.
Yeah, it being severely overexposed is not their fault.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hope you're listening, Metallica. We're on your side.
Don't sue us for talking about your music.
Yeah, please don't. I don't think we said enough lyrics to
Oh,
but
sure.
They got a guy counting words.
All I know is that you just scream fair use until the lawyers go away. Okay. So that's how we're going to handle that one.
Okay. I like the sounds of that.
The Simpsons.
Remember them?
Yeah. They're a family on the television, and they have got, right now, season 3 is where we're at in 1991.
Yeah. And as a family, you know what they like to celebrate? Holidays. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start this episode.
Like most TV families.
Yeah. They like to squeeze every bit of entertainment out of them holidays, which they're going to do with the first episode we're going to discuss today, Treehouse of Terror 2.
Horror. Treehouse of Horror.
Treehouse of Horror. My bad, gang. Some fucking intern's going to get his ass chewed. Get my notes right, you son of a bitch.
Tanner, get in here.
And just like Treehouse of Horror 1, it starts with Marge walking out onto a stage to plead with people to put their children to bed. But she is now jaded. She's like, we told you the first time to put your kids away, but you didn't. So you know what? Screw you guys. If you can't be good parents, it's not our fault. And thus begins...
How much truth do you think is in that? Do you think they got letters after the first one? Or do you think this is just their own fun joke?
All the time.
Yeah, probably.
There was a time when the world wasn't on fire, when this is the kind of shit people were worried about.
Yeah.
That a cartoon boy said, eat my shorts. That's what people used to get worked up about.
Yeah, that was going to be the downfall of America.
Yeah. Now we have... rental minivans pulling citizens off the streets and stealing their wallets.
Now we have the actual downfall of America.
Exactly. You think the Simpsons could make some shit out of this, but apparently they don't anymore. But hey, that's for another podcast 5.5 years down the road.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Catch up to current day Simpsons.
Yeah.
But back to the Treehouse of Horror. The framework of this one is the kids go out, they do a ton of trick-or-treats, make bank, because they're at that prime trick-or-treating age. Right around 9, 10, it's like, you're big enough where you can run. If you really want to make time, you can run house to house. And oh man, that was maybe 11, because once your nuts drop, you probably shouldn't be trick-or-treating much anymore, but yeah.
My trick-or-treating memories are all from the country, where it's a 5 to 10 minute drive in between neighbors.
Oh man, that's what my cousins had to do, and I always felt so bad for them.
And it's North Dakota, and in October, I'm going to say 65% of the time it's cold and there's snow on the ground. So your costume is whatever it's supposed to be, but in coveralls. So it's like, Frankenstein, but in coveralls. Gene Simmons from Kiss, but in coveralls.
Yeah. I remember, when we were kids, when you were real little, your mom would just buy that, all-in-one package. It was like a plastic cellophane bodysuit with that hard plastic shell mask with the rubber band to hold it on.
I never got one of those, but I do remember seeing them.
That was the quick. We're at Kmart. It cost $4 done. But when I was 9, I just begged my mom, hey, can I finally do this? I think I had $4 to my name. So I was able to splurge, and she was able to get something a little bit better. And I got this makeup kit. It's your eyeballs hanging out. Your face looks like someone hit you with a waffle iron. This is the fucking tits. And I put it on as good as an uncoordinated 9-year-old could. It's I look pretty fucking gnarly. One eye is covered up. I went outside to go trick-or-treating. Within 15 minutes, it all froze and fell off my face in a chunk. So
lost all your adhesive.
The rest of Halloween is me grabbing that, crying, and shoving it onto my face, hoping my sweat will melt it back. But no, I just got spirit gum in my eyes. It was really stingy.
Oh my god! Yeah, I feel like no Viscera effects pack is going to give you the quality that you're looking for.
They're not ready for a 5 degree above zero Halloween.
Right. I don't know what product they're using to create the effect that's on the photo on the packaging, but it's not what's in the packaging for fucking sure.
And as I pity your Halloween experience as a country kid, I also got to throw it too. Like, as an only child, you didn't have the joy of being able to strong arm younger siblings into making terrible candy trades.
Nope.
Like, I'm getting 4 Kit Kats for 3 little bags of Whoppers. It was just the greatest set I've ever, like threw in a combination of like just brute force and just superior intellect because they're 4 years old and you're 8 and that's a lifetime of difference. That fucking dummy can't even read. He doesn't know what to do when I talk fast.
Kid doesn't even know what a Whopper is.
And I also like the terrifying footsteps of your dad coming down the hallway because you know he's going to take some candy. And that son of a bitch got big hands. He's taking big scoops. I used to legit pile all my Snickers bars on top because you got like 60% Snicker bars, like because they dominate the mini candy bar market.
They were like peanuts in snack mix.
Yeah, exactly.
They're in mixed nuts. Yeah,
in a cheap snack mix. There they are.
Yeah.
And I would watch as my dad would keep reaching. It's like the good shit's on top. I know you like Snickers bars. Just take them all. Like, and then he's like pulling out like the mini whatchamacallits that you gotta get from Canada. They don't sell them in America. It's like, these are vintage. We should collect them.
Someone's got to pull off a pretty crafty heist in order to get mini whatchamacallits. Get out of here.
Yeah, no. A mini strawberry Charleston chew. I don't even like those, but I'm going to eat it because it's cool.
It's a rarity.
Yeah.
Take the Snickers. God damn it. My old man was a big Three Musketeers enthusiast of all candies, so I was like, you could pawn him off with that shit and just be like, get out of here, go on, get.
See, I know we've discussed this before. Like, I could not work in a gas station because I would be so endlessly fascinated by the candy choices people made. It's like, oh, like a Mars bar, really? That's amazing. Good for you. Or like a Milky Way. Like,
yeah,
really,
what
like,
do you get that there's other candies, right?
Like, there's like things that are like Milky Ways on steroids. It's like a Milky Way with cool shit jammed in it. Why would you settle for this?
If you're going in, I'm not much of a candy bar guy, but if you're going in to a gas station and you got to get a bar, not like a bag of something, but I guess you could count M&Ms. But if you're grabbing a candy bar, what are you reaching for more often than not?
Bro, it's all about what I'm feeling emotionally, how I'm feeling about myself. Kind of planet alignment. It can change with the fucking day, brother. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if I could give you an honest answer. Probably if you were to if I was to eat a candy bar a day, which if I had my druthers, we would be there. I would say the biggest percentage would be whatchamacallits. I'm a whatchamacallit guy.
I like a good whatchamacallit.
Ask me in a half hour
often.
though, I'm going to say $100,000. I like a good whatchamacallits are reliable. Like fucking a Butterfinger bar is as fickle as produce for how good it can be. A fresh Butterfinger, delish. It's a day past its fucking prime. It is like eating a goddamn one of those thick chalk sticks.
Yeah, I was just about to say there's a chalkiness to a Butterfinger.
Same thing with a Reese's cup. A good Reese's cup, man, that's pretty high on my list too. But you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Odds are I'm reaching for a Score or a Heath. Odds are I'm gonna follow my toffee tooth.
I'm just gonna say that's You'd be a hit with grandparents nationwide. That hopefully they're listening.
Yeah. Between that and the peppermint pinwheels we've discussed on this program, I just want old man candy apparently.
And we maybe discussed my love of black licorice. So yeah, give me a handful of good and plenties.
We haven't. Are you a black licorice person?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm out there, Marlin, and I'm loving every minute of it.
You do you. I wouldn't have called it. Looking back, I probably should have. That shouldn't surprise me as much as it does.
And not only do I love black licorice, I dislike all other licorices.
What are you... Okay.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's not like I'd rather eat my own arm than eat strawberry licorice, but just like, yeah, it ain't my thing.
Huh. No, my black licorice it's Jägermeister or nothing. If it's not black Sambuca, I'm not interested. I need a fair amount of alcohol in my black licorice flavor.
If I have to eat black licorice, it better fuck me up.
Exactly. See, you get me.
Yeah. So, back to The Simpsons. These segues, man, my brain, I got Roro brain so bad. Because I go 6.5 days without thinking at all, then we do the podcast. Like, oh shit, I got to be on my toes.
Yep, you're slipping gears.
So the Simpson kids, they got all their candy and they're mowing down their spoils of war. And Marge, ever the concerned mom, is like, hey kids, calm down on that candy, because if you keep eating that much candy, you're going to get nightmares. It's the kind of bullshit pseudoscience moms throw at you.
Yep.
And the kids laugh her off, but turns out old Marge knows a little something, because the kids and Homer all have nightmares. And that's how the episode kind of plays out. Lisa is the first to suffer. She has a nightmare where the Simpsons go to Morocco, which is not...
Why not?
Yeah, that's a very common destination for Midwest families on vacation.
Yeah. What's Marrakesh? Yeah, why not Marrakesh?
Exactly. And Homer buys a cursed monkey's paw that grants wishes. And I do like when they're on the way back, they're getting very hostilely handled by the... I don't know if it would be the airport security or some kind of government agency, and it's like a shakedown type scenario. Kind of has a Midnight Express vibe, which is a movie that I don't know if they got the reference in 1991. I certainly don't in 2020. It's a 42-year-old movie at this point, but they get shook down. It's like, oh man, we're in trouble now. And then they get a fine, which costs $2 American to get out of. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, and the stuff they're stealing is just like trinkets that Homer has duct taped to his body under his shirt.
And so they have a monkey paw that grants the wishes, and of course Homer fucks up his wish, and then they wish for... finally someone's like, they want the Simpsons to be rich and famous, and the writers use this as a way of playing off the Simpsons' fame at the time.
Yeah, Bart wishes for fame and fortune, and so they all have, an obscene amount of money suddenly in the house, and then the fame half of that is just their faces are everywhere on merch, and the writers really run away with this, which is so good. Of like, it's just people seeing like all these Simpsons t-shirts and being like, God, I used to think they were funny, and now I'm just tired of seeing them.
Yeah. And as someone that was alive and cognizant in 1991, I can tell you that was the truth. That was what everyone was about, was The Simpsons at that point in
it's
American
so funny
history.
to me because this is only season 3. Was America really already tired of The Simpsons in season 3?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you're right. But we're gonna have to look at the ratings. So it had to still be kicking ass and taking names throughout most of the 90s, I think.
You would think, I can't.
How would they have gotten a Futurama show if The Simpsons wasn't still a cash cow?
Right? Yeah, I don't know that I buy the general public in '91. So few episodes in would already be tired of them. Maybe they were. I wasn't there. I mean, I was there. I was alive, but I was 6.
And I do like when they're showing the merchandise, they even make fun of the Simpsons Sing the Blues album. There's a album that says The Simpsons Go Calypso. So,
yep.
An album of the Simpsons singing all your favorite Calypso hits. So.
All your fun Caribbean songs.
And then Lisa sees that they're wasting the wishes on petty, selfish choices. So she decides to end strife in the world and creates world peace, which backfires because then the aliens from Treehouse of Horror 1 come in and take over the world because nobody has any weapons.
Yep. How's that for... Isn't that the monkey paw thing? Like, it gives you what you want, but under dire consequence.
Mm-hmm. One nice touch was that Maggie got it first, and Maggie, with her just the power of her brain, wished for a new pacifier.
Yep.
And then I think he ends up selling it to Ned, and Ned figures out a way, and Ned gets all the acclaim, and Homer's sad and mad because he's a shitty person, and he doesn't want to see Ned Flanders succeeding where he has failed.
Yeah, Ned uses it to get rid of the aliens, but at the price of, as the aliens fly away, they're like, sure, they chased us off with a board with a nail through it, but that'll start them down the path of having all the weapons again.
A bigger board with a bigger nail. So Lisa wakes up from her nightmare. She's still spooked, so she goes into Bart's room and asks Bart to sleep in his bed because she's scared. That's what kids do. Aw.
Yeah, and his price of admission is a candy necklace, which I never cared for.
No,
that's a chalky garbage tier candy.
That's a sweat covered candy neck after an afternoon of bike riding.
I don't think I have ever once eaten a candy necklace. I have for sure done the thing where you stretch it tight and bite a piece to shoot it at someone, but I don't think I've ever actually eaten a candy necklace.
It's like being a kid is like being way into the drug scene in the 60s. Like, it's like I was never into that shit, but I dabbled. Like, I didn't want to have a giant fake thumb sucker. Remember those?
Yeah.
Like
oh, God. I had forgotten about the fake thumb. Yeah.
It's the kind of shit you'd be riding bike, you drop it in the dirt. You're not going to let it go to waste because you like candy. So you wipe it on what was basically booty shorts that we all wore back then. Tiny little kid shorts. Wipe it on that, right back in the mouth, covered in ants and God knows what.
I feel like I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but I feel like my parents pretty actively steered me away from any candy that could make a fucking mess. Anything,
yeah, which God bless them.
Like the thumbs or the ring pops. I don't think I had a fun dip till I was probably 25. Yeah. Like anything that could vaguely get something sticky was a no-go.
My dad was always a fan of like Dolly Madison, like Zingers, and he loved the donuts. You know, they said you could get like the pack of donuts to be like the powdered, the chocolate, then the one that would look like it was covered in cigarette ashes that were just for parents. I still don't know what they were, but if he was feeling charitable and gave my brother and I a powdered donut to share, we'd have to eat it over the sink. I'm pretty sure he made us do that well into our teenage years. My brother's a grown man with kids. I bet he still had to have to eat it over the sink like a goddamn animal.
If he gave him a powdered donut, he would make him eat it outside.
Yeah, he's like just been trained to do that.
I've never been a powdered donut person. I like the crunchy one, the one with all the coconut on the outside.
See, that's the one that's the cigarette ashes. Okay, that's what that is. Coconut. Good to know.
Apparently, I do just like old man junk.
Oh no, I will take the chocolate and the powdered right to the dome all day, every day.
Nah, man, I'm not into it. I don't like a powdered donut. I don't need to look like I just did a pile of cocaine.
Yeah. I might lose a job for it. I don't even give a shit. I'm a man that enjoys flavor. I'm not going to apologize. Call me Sweet Tooth. I guess I won't be working in your call center. So Lisa's in bed with Bart. Bart's about to go to sleep, and then he suffers a nightmare called the Bart Zone, which is a play off of a Twilight Zone episode that also appeared in the movie, the early 80s Twilight Zone movie, where basically Bart plays the main character from the Twilight Zone episode, who is just this omnipotent kid that has like godlike powers, that he can just look at anything and make it happen. Mm-hmm. And it's legit terrifying in that Twilight Zone movie. I've never seen the episode from the show, but so all of Springfield just like kowtows to Bart's wishes because he can destroy anything with just the thought of his mind, and it's a terrifying concept. And like he turns Homer into a Jack in the Box, and they can't figure out because everyone's so scared of him. They can't figure out how can we get him to stop destroying everything with his godlike powers. And then the ever reliable psychologist makes another appearance and convinces him and Bart that him and Homer need to spend time together. So we get like a montage of Bart and a Jack in the Box Homer doing father-son activities.
Going to the baseball game and just, good dad and son stuff.
Yeah. So through the power of familial love, they convince Bart not to destroy everything that gives him the least bit of trouble in his life.
And that's the part that is Bart's nightmare. Like he sleeps soundly through the whole thing, except at the end when they're having a wholesome moment with he and his dad. That's when he wakes up screaming like, "Ah, God, no!"
It doesn't like Homer kiss him goodnight or something like that. That's what causes a blood curdling scream.
That I thought was a good joke. I really like I don't think they got the guy, but whoever their stand-in is for the narrator at the beginning does a very good Twilight Zone narrator. Some of those Twilight Zones are hard to find. Like, some used to be on Netflix, but it was seasons like 1, 2, and 7 or some shit like that.
Oh, no shit.
It's
That's
hard
interesting.
if I'm not mistaken, I think it's hard to find those old Twilight Zones.
I like when shit like that just stops, like the goddamn hoops you have to jump through to watch, like, Looney Tunes, like Warner Brothers cartoons anymore. Mm-hmm. They're not on any cable channel.
Well, now they just got picked up they're on HBO Max now because HBO bought the streaming rights to them.
Like the Warner Brothers, like backlot or something. Interesting.
And
like,
they made new Looney Tunes. There are new Looney Tunes out there.
Oh, I mean, I still want the OG, but hey, do what you got to do, I guess.
Yep. I mean, they're on there too, so you can ignore the new stuff if you want it.
And this is us begging for a sponsorship from HBO Max. Please.
Put us on HBO Max.
There we go.
You can stream the podcast on your television.
We got webcams. We can do it.
I'm looking at one right now.
There we go.
If you want to see us in our basketball shorts.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to be part of our OnlyFans, less than that. Or maybe it's the two of us in one pair of basketball shorts. Does that do anything for you? Please subscribe handsomely to our Patreon and find out.
Yep. That's...
I'm trying to think, would we do a back to front or would we do each of us in a leg? What should be less humiliating?
Yeah, we'll have to spitball that off mic.
The only winners there are the viewing public. So now the kids are both scared, so they crawl into bed with Marge and Homer. Now it's Homer's turn to have a nightmare. His is kind of a play off Frankenstein, where I think it's Mr. Burns. Turns out, I mean, it's shocking that he's alive at any point during all this because he's a very feeble man. Mm-hmm. They decide we got to somehow find a way to slip his brain into a robot body. But first, they're going to have to practice because they got the robot built. Then they need to get get a brain in there and see how it works. And Homer is now digging graves for a living. They find him sleeping in a grave.
Yep. Which I have a note here. The gravedigger pays $28 an hour, which is pretty great.
Yeah. It's like... At that rate, you can just hire it out and have someone that owns a backhoe do that shit.
Right? Find somebody who owns a bobcat and split it with them.
Exactly. Get it done in an hour instead of taking 3 days.
I liked Burns's comment on his robot. He refers to it as, quote, the greatest breakthrough in worker relations since the Cat of Nine Tails. Yeah. I had to pause and be like, wait, I got to jot that one down. Thank you, Simpsons.
I do like, too, where they go, like, when we see Mr. Burns' laboratory, he has, like, a fake wall that spins, and I swear to Christ, Marlin, if this podcast takes off and I ever have fuck you money, I'm going to have a secret wall in one of the rooms of my home.
Yep, you'll pull a candlestick and have it swivel. Yep,
I'd probably just keep my comics and basketball cards in there, but god damn it, it'd be so satisfying to pull that candlestick.
Yeah, always been a dream of mine. I want some manner of, someday when I own a home, some manner of Bruce Wayne-esque secret hallway or something like that. And like you said, even if all I keep down there is, even if I just use that as my pantry, like, oh, we need more Ritz crackers, got to head down to the pantry, let me lift up the head of this bust and push the secret button and move the bookshelf out of the way. Need anything else while I'm down here? Nope, just the Ritzes.
Oh, just any other canned goods possibly? Got a lot of non-perishable goods down here.
You know, it's a real pain in the ass to haul groceries way down here.
One thing in this episode, too, that I liked, I had to jot down is Homer needs to use the bathroom, and he uses the phrase, gotta shake the dew off the lily, which is a very, very fun phrase for urinating.
Oh, man, I missed that. I'm glad you caught that. That's really funny.
I think we all have, no one says, I'm going to go urinate. That sounds very clinical and very creepy.
Oh, yeah, you'd call the police if someone told
exactly,
you that.
Yeah, like, you could just do it. Say, I'm going to rock a piss. Rocking a piss always sounds good, but and you probably noticed this on the travelings. I've always been a fan of, I got to go see a man about a horse.
Yep, that's the first thing that came to mind because you definitely say that.
Yeah, I got to go see a guy about a horse, or you can also substitute dog. I don't see a guy about a dog. Like, that works for me, but I've been doing that for 30-odd years, Marlon. I've been thinking of bringing back drain the main vein. Remember people saying that? I gotta go drain the main vein. I'll be right back. It's like I don't like the rhyming of it. I don't know.
I like the rhythm of it for sure, but that one has that one has just a sprinkling of vulgarity in a way that doesn't hit my ear right.
See, I think I'm gonna sell it on you. You're just hearing it over the airwaves. You see, I got a tinkle in my eye, the boyish charm. I think I'll sell it right. You got to get the full package deal. Yeah.
Well, once we survive this apocalypse and can start doing comedy road gigs again, we'll have to take it for a test drive.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just a gotta hit the can person. I'm a pretty basic bitch with my bathroom terminology.
Hey, I don't want you to have to reach out of your comfort zone. I've always said that about you and your bathroom stuff.
I am a cake donut about bathrooms.
In this episode, too, I got to mention, I almost forgot. So, they realize, okay, he's not dead. And Mr. Burns, YOLO, we're going to cut his goddamn brain out anyhow and use it to run our fucking makeshift Frankenstein robot. They do all that shit and they celebrate. I think out of all, they have killed a man. They are playing God, making a human-like robot. I still say the biggest crime against humanity in this episode is when they're having a I don't know what it would be, post-surgery, post-robot making meal. They are eating pepperoni pizza with what appears to be grape Kool-Aid. That's unacceptable.
You're not okay with that?
Take a quick look at the color of the beverage they're drinking with that pepperoni pizza.
Are you not a grape Kool-Aid person? Or
I'm
is
not
it
a grape Kool-Aid person, and I just don't think that's a good combination, even if you are.
Oh, I think you can put grape Kool-Aid with anything, like any fine wine.
I am white trash DNA courses through my veins. Grew up in Southbrook Trailer Park. Even as a 4-year-old, I passed on Kool-Aid. I never liked it.
Man.
Give me lemonade, or give me a big glass of water, or fuck off.
We were an iced tea family for the most part, but definitely as a youth, I never had a problem with any manner of fruit drink, be it a Kool-Aid or what's the other one, the orange one, Tang. I'll get down on a Tang.
My grandma's house had Tang. I think Tang is many notches above Kool-Aid. I think I developed too good of a fruit beverage palate with my young Tang drinking days.
Too refined, yeah.
Exactly. I started off on the high end shit. Couldn't get back. Yeah, I'll even fuck with some Flavor-Aid. Give me some flavor, but not Kool-Aid. I don't know. It's one note, man.
Huh.
There's no texture. There's no notes of anything else. It's real basic.
I love that you, even at a young age, were like, no, no Kool-Aid for me. That's for the plebs.
Drinking Flavor-Aid out of a snifter. Oh yes, it's a 84 vintage. Oh yeah,
in your high back leather chair with your stock ticker.
The orange crop had to be harvested early that year, and you can tell
only the finest astronaut drink for me. Swirling your Tang.
Yeah. So they got Homer's
Benson,
brain.
my slippers.
Yeah. I'm very undignified 99% of it, but by God, fruit water combos, I'm going to be a snob about them.
Your powdered fruit drink. Yeah, you're a little hoity-toity.
I will pour fucking Ham's beer down my head like it's a contest, but I will not settle for less.
You're the same man who admonished me for being fancy for thinking that you should put meatloaf in tinfoil before you put it in your jacket pocket.
That's true.
And you're over here trying to act like you're too good for Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I'm a man of many contradictions, Marlin.
You are a complicated man.
Yes. And what's not complicated is the Homer robot, because you put Homer's brain in any type of robot, it's still going to be dumb as shit. It's still going to be bad at its job. It's going to scratch itself, and it's going to want to drink beer and eat donuts all goddamn day. So Mr. Burns realizes, oh my God, you cannot play God. What mistake have I done? And then shockingly enough, Smithers convinces Mr. Burns, hey man, it'd be kind of cool if you put that dude's brain back in his head and let him go on with his life.
Yeah,
so
just convinces him like, hey, that would be a good guy thing to do if you put his brain back.
You don't have to just dump all this in the trash. We can just sew him back up and he can go about his way.
Yep.
So that is the second Treehouse of Horror. What do we have? Probably 78 to go?
Something like that. Yep. They do the gag then at the end of that episode where the robot tips over and falls on Burns, and then he grafts his head onto Homer's body.
Oh, yep, you're totally right.
Which I love a good two-headed man arguing with himself. That's a pretty classic shtick. Which brings us to episode 7, which is Lisa's Pony. We finally got here. After, I think, just last week or the week before, you mentioning Lisa's love of ponies and how it completely takes her out of her wise beyond her years mindset. This one starts off, I think, kind of out of nowhere with this weird 2001 segment at the beginning of the episode where Homer is amongst the chimps, like a chimpified Homer, and they find the monolith and Homer just uses it to lean up against while he takes a nap, and then it crossfades into modern day where he's taking a nap. I thought that was odd. I don't understand where that came from.
You could tell the show is successful now because the writers can be really indulgent on all the ideas they have. Like,
right.
If they want to do it, they just do it.
And maybe there's a deeper reference there that I'm missing because I've never seen 2001. I just haven't gotten around to that one.
I kind of did fairly recently. And tell you, I don't know, man. I mean, cinematically, it looks good and it's pitch perfect that way. But like just the story, man. You've already heard it, it's been done.
I feel like I know what that movie is, having never seen it.
Good way to put it.
I'm not the biggest Kubrick guy, though. Like, Shining is great, and I think Strangelove is nearly perfect. But outside of that, I don't love Clockwork Orange. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't love Eyes Wide Shut,
Jacket.
but it's fine. Full Metal Jacket, I think, is fine. I will say he sure made good-looking films. Even if I don't like them, I'm usually like, this looks great.
Yeah, I mean, but he also took, 2.5 years to make a movie, so by God, he should get some good shots during that time.
And by all accounts, was a fucking nightmare person to deal with. So, but I've just never gotten around to 2001, and I probably will continue to not, if I were to guess.
That's your promise, listeners.
I vow to not watch 2001: A Space Odyssey later today.
So brave.
I didn't want to say it myself because it seemed kind of masturbatory, but I'm glad you did. Thank you. So Homer needs to grab a saxophone reed for Lisa. She has a recital coming up that night, and Homer's like, I got 15 minutes to kill, and goes to Moe's instead, and of course completely botches everything, doesn't get the reed in time. Lisa performs with her shitty saxophone reed, which makes her saxophone sound awful, and she's pretty devastated by Homer's ineptitude.
There's some good laughs during the talent show itself. It's Milhouse, his talent is playing the spoons. And if you watch how dejected he is when he's like taken off the stage.
Yep.
He realizes playing the spoons is never going to win anyone anything.
Yeah, that was a learning experience for Milhouse.
And the random kid that's singing My Ding-a-ling, like,
who gets hustled off the stage immediately.
Principal Skinner's like, this act is over. I just love the rage.
I loved all the asides for Mr. Skinner talking to Mrs. Krabappel at the side of the stage where he's just like, Jesus Christ, they're worse every year, I swear.
And he has to go out there with that fake smile.
Yeah, and pretend to be encouraging. And I like that he says right up at the top, like, settle in, everybody, we're about to get started, and the doors are locked, so you can't just leave after your kid is done.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Lisa's section of the talent show goes poorly due to the busted reed in her sax that Homer failed to come through on, and she's devastated. Homer goes home and watches an old VHS tape of camcorder memories and realizes that he's kind of always been shitty with Lisa in particular. He tries spending some time with her doing, stuff that Lisa wants to do. But she's like dejected and not really enjoying it, and he's bad at it. And
he tries to like win her over with that absurdly large like ice cream treat. And I noticed the sign says 5,600 flavors of ice cream. There's nothing more American than that. Like,
yeah, he tries to buy her off with that treat, which is called the Mount Bellyache, and is served in a wheelbarrow.
It costs like $78.
And I loved the mic drop "fuck you" out of Lisa, which is she picks up the spoon, takes one bite, sets it down, and says, "I'm done."
Yeah.
That's so perfect. That's somehow better than not eating a bite.
We had an exchange student when I was in high school, and like the first time she came, and my hometown doesn't have a giant, soul-destroying grocery store. We got like a couple little mom-and-pop grocery stores, and still, this exchange student from Norway was in awe of the cereal aisle, about how many choices there were. It's like, how could anyone ever eat so much cereal? It's like, that's it. That's America, baby.
Where?
You can get bankrupt from a sprained ankle, but by God, you have 4 different options for how many crunch berries you want.
If you got to go to the doctor, you'll be homeless, but look at all the sugar. Oh,
I want a
God.
80-20 mix of crunch berries. We got one for you.
Our cereal aisle is so fucked up that every so often we put out one called All Crunch Berries and pretend it was an accident.
We still keep King Vitamin on the shelf, even though no one's fucking buying that shit. It was depressing. Oh, there's an 85-year-old man with a crown made of spoons. And he's not a cartoon. He's a real man. Why the fuck do they have a real man on there? Like,
even the Quaker Oats went to a cartoon at some point.
They eventually did, yeah. Like, I think sometime they find, like, this is depressing. Like, you can
get this
see
old
the
man
busted
off this box.
capillaries around that man's eyes. Like, just reminding the kids what their future is. Like,
you want Cocoa Puffs or you want Captain Liver Spots over here? I've never had a King Vitamin. Is King Vitamin worth a damn? Or does anyone know?
I remember my mom telling me that we couldn't have it because she'd heard it turns your poop the color of the cereal. Like that is any deterrent for a child. Like, fucking Cocoa Pebbles could make your shit glow so bright that you can't look directly at it. I will eat half a fucking box.
We just talked about my love of Black Sambuca, and that'll turn your shit the deepest forest green you've ever seen in your life. It's horrifying when you're not ready for it.
That sounds nice in a way. Probably nice until it comes out of your own body. Like, oh boy,
right.
That's
that
not
color
what we
shouldn't
want
be
at
there.
all.
I don't know which of the Mossy Oaks tone that is, but it's not a good one. So Homer's trying to spend time with Lisa and doing the girly stuff, doing the tea party and that kind of thing. None of it's going well. He's absolutely bad at this, and he's lamenting to Marge about how it's not going well. And I wrote this down because this is not a line that aged well, but he's talking to Marge and he goes, if I do any more of these girly things with her, I'm going to go fruity. And he makes like jazz hands.
Yeah.
It's like,
doesn't age well.
No, that's not how that works at all. Okay. It's not, I feel like in their defense, in The Simpsons' defense, I feel like we don't come across a yikes, that didn't age well line very often.
Yeah, that is true.
For as huge as this show was and as many episodes as we've been through already, I feel like that doesn't happen very often in their defense.
At the same time, there were sitcoms airing that were 22 and a half minutes of yikes. There was yikes from the intro
Babes.
song
we
to
talked
the credits.
about Babes.
Yeah, Babes. The concept is yikes. The jokes are yikes. Everything's yikes.
Yeah. So the fact that we've only come across a couple of chili peppers in the candy dish, I'm happy with it.
Well, I don't know when it is in this episode, but there's a TV on in the background, and it's supposed to be Fantasy Island. And
yes, yep.
He goes, deplane, and then you hear, no, my freakish little friend. That's a seagull. So that was such a nice touch. Yeah.
I've never seen Fantasy Island, so I only know that little person from the Roger Moore Man with the Golden Gun.
Oh, interesting.
Bond movie. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot. You haven't seen much Bond.
Yeah, I don't even know if I've ever seen an episode of Fantasy Island. I just know of the little guy and the main guy. I just kind of know probably from like a Mad interpretation, like from a Mad magazine or something.
It's one of those things like 2001. I've never seen it, but I know what it is.
Yep, exactly.
But yes, the little person sidekick in that show, that same actor plays the little person sidekick to Christopher Lee, who is the main villain of The Man with the Golden Gun, which is a Roger Moore Bond film. Fun facts.
There we go. I know it from the GoldenEye video game. Golden Gun kills you with one shot, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I got a thing we got to mention quick, too, because I'm going to forget. I love when Homer makes the decision. It's pony time, and he goes...
It's pony time.
He goes to the...
I wish he'd have said that.
Yeah, pony time. He goes to like the employee, like the power plant employee credit union for a loan, and it's so awesome that Mr. Burns hangs out there because he just enjoys how bad they fuck over the employees.
Yep, he personally, the guy who owns the joint, also comes down to the front lines just to see them be sad.
Give away their money, give their money back to him.
Yeah,
and when he tells him it's for a pony, Mr. Burns is like, you're not going to eat the pony. He assumed the pony was for human consumption.
Yeah, he pauses for a second. He's like, oh, delightful. Wait, you're not going to eat it, are you?
You know, as a man who has been obese most of his life, I have suffered many an indignity. I have never had anyone assume I'm going to eat pets. Like I'm petting someone's dog. Like, that's a companion, not food. Like
that's enough. Back away, Mr. Falsobach.
Take it easy with that dog, Buster.
No one's gripped their kitten a little tighter as you walk by.
I come to visit. They throw a tablecloth over the aquarium. See, we have other fish we can eat too. They are in convenient stick form.
You're picking up the quarter. What's under here? No. Come over here, Nathan.
No.
Not
it's
again.
Certainly not food. If that's what you're wondering.
How insulting that would be. But Homer takes out the employee loan and gets Lisa a pony. Tells Marge, quote, with today's gasoline prices, we can't afford not to buy a pony. So ends up with a pony that Lisa names Princess. She, of course, loves the pony. There's a great sight gag where Homer buys the pony and then while Lisa's asleep, puts it in her bed with her.
Yeah.
So she wakes up and the music swells and she pulls it back to reveal a horse head like Godfather. Except there's a whole horse connected to it.
It's a lovely horse and Lisa loves it.
She is delighted. Comes riding into her parents' bedroom exclaiming, I love you, Dad, which is all Homer wanted, was to get back on Lisa's good side. And when we do this, I'll like take a minute and try to look up some little factoids, some little fun facts for the show here. And I came across one today that I followed down a deep rabbit hole to try to figure out why this is a thing. But the horse has a voice credit, which is strange because the horse doesn't speak. It just makes horse sounds. But who did they get to make horse sounds? Motherfucking Frank Welker of Transformers fame. He's the voice of Megatron and Starscream from the Transformers cartoons.
Oh, no kidding.
Why? You could... Was their budget such that they just threw money around at this point?
I was just going to say, this is we're in the salad days of The Simpsons. Money was flowing.
That's it. I thought the same thing when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and they're like, yeah, we got Vin Diesel to voice the tree who only says his name over and over again. It's like, why? That could have been Greg from accounting.
Yeah, exactly. You could have had the best boy do that, or the grip.
Right. Grab someone from craft service. But, so I followed this down a hole. Not only does Frank Welker play the horse who doesn't speak, but he also plays Santa's little helper who also doesn't speak.
That's awesome.
Apparently Frank Welker is like, Megatron and any animal sounds you need made. We got Frank Welker to do it. Baffling.
The more you know. That's
good
a deep
on
dive,
him for
Marlin.
getting paid.
Yeah,
exactly. Make that money,
that
Frank. So Lisa loves her horse, but the Simpsons quickly have to deal with the fact that horses are expensive to upkeep. There's stable fees and riding lessons fees and food, and the horse was expensive to begin with. And it's not long before they realize something has to change. Homer ends up getting a second job working at the Quickie Mart for Apu, and he has a terrifying work schedule because he's working his day job at the power plant and then working midnight to 8 a.m. at the Quickie Mart, so he's not sleeping. He's just constantly exhausted throughout this entire thing and falling apart, frankly.
Yeah. I do like, too, when he's getting the job explained to him and Apu mentions that there's some hot dogs on a rotisserie that are just for show.
Yep.
They've been there for 3 years.
Strictly ornamental.
Yeah, that's the word I got. And I'm going to go on record right now. Man, there is a few things I enjoy more than a good gas station hot dog.
As we've discussed before, I am a gas station food aficionado. I'm not above it. I celebrate it. I have never once eaten a gas station hot dog.
Oh, man.
Not one.
The batting average is terrible, but man, when
but the slugging percentage is pretty great.
Through the roof. Yeah, it's either embarrassing strikeout or it is upper deck home run where you're just doing that home run trot waving to the fans.
Flip the bat.
Oh man, a bad one is like terrifying because it could destroy you physically. It's like that doesn't taste like food at all. What was that?
I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not above it. I'm not against it. It's just never. I'll grab a sandwich or a burrito or something along those lines. I've just never pulled a sweaty wiener off the rollers.
You got to start tugging some sweaty wiener, my man. And change your life. In your car outside a gas station at night. That's living, brother. Living on the edge.
Yep. Well, added to the list of things that we need to do once all ends.
When Marlin gets his groove back. tugging wet wiener outside of Stop and Go. I like how I somehow now tugging wet wiener means getting a hot dog from a gas station.
Which is, again, much like your choice of bathroom lingo, a little on the vulgar side, but poetic nonetheless.
Thank you. And then while we're talking, I don't want to get out of the pony episode, because we got to talk about, speaking of ponies, we get a flashback to the fucking dog and pony show that season 1 was, because in this episode, for some unknown reason, Ralphie Wiggum has the voice of Nelson.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you missed that. Yeah.
I
like,
absolutely missed it.
He's like, now he has Nelson's voice? Huh. He's like the most iconic voice of any character on the show, at least of the side characters, and like they just forgot that for an episode. I guess we really haven't dived too deep into young Ralphie yet, but...
Yeah, I don't think I've even realized that Ralphie has shown up in this show yet.
Yep, a couple of our episodes ago, he made an appearance. That's been about it. But
I think
he had his high pitched squeaky voice.
I think the only two that immediately pop up and set all my warning alarms off are Martin and Wendell. I think those are the only two kids where I'm ever like, aha, there they are. So Homer's working his job at the convenience store and hating it and not getting enough sleep, and he's falling asleep at work and at home and in the car while he's driving, and they show him pulling into the garage dragging some picket fence. That was probably not a good whatever happened there.
And as someone that grew up in a rural area, you can probably testify to this. This type of lifestyle is not abnormal for horse people. Horse people will ruin their lives to keep their horses happy.
Yep.
It's a fucking sickness. It's a mental illness.
It's horse people to some extent, and certainly there's some people who are worse than others. Horse people to some extent are like drug addicts.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Like they will hawk anything to get their horse fix.
They talk about gateway drugs. You know what a gateway drug is, Marlin? Black beauty. Yeah. You give an 8-year-old girl black beauty. What does she want? She wants to have her dad cash out his 401k so they can own a goddamn horse. They live in a condo, and yet she demands they have a fucking horse.
Yep. The horses are, like, we grew up with horses, but we grew up with so when I grew up, we had horses and we used them for work. We were on a cattle ranch, so you were always on horses. And I remember being a kid, I'm going to say 8 or 10 years old, and like finding out that people rode horses recreationally and being just befuddled. Who would do that? Who would want to saddle a horse for funsies?
Because they're mean. They swing their heads around.
It's like, if you when I was growing up, if you had to get the horses in, you were in for a long day, because that meant some motherfucking work was going to get done that day. Or it meant that the cattle had broken through a fence somewhere and you had an emergency on your hands. So the idea that people just put on a helmet, first off, put on a fucking helmet and some fancy tall boots and go do this for fun.
On a manicured lawn,
I remember being just blown the fuck away. Like, why would you do that?
And one thing when cattle do, when there's a fencing issue and the cattle get out, they're never doing anything cool. It's not like you come up on them, they're trying to build a rocket ship out of old driftwood. They're just doing cow shit. They're the same exact, they're eating and pooping.
Yep.
Nothing. It's like, God damn it, this is your guys' time to shine. There's no, like, you could have went to Vegas. You could have done anything. Like, nope. Eat more grass, because that's all you dummies want to do.
Yeah, you broke out of a pasture full of grass to eat the grass that was over here.
I get PETA, but we are doing we're eating the dumbest, worst animals.
Yes. Like cattle, sure. If you see a cud chewing, long lashed cow on the photo or on the side of a product, you're like, oh, that's cute. But they're dumb animals.
Yeah. You see a little cute pig as a kid. Oh, pigs are cute. You see a real pig, it's the size of a fucking Chevy Cavalier. They're terrifying when you're fucking 6 and their back hump is twice as tall as you are. It's like, They don't do anything. Like, show me a video of a pig doing cool shit on a jet ski. You can train a chipmunk to do that. That's why we don't eat chipmunks, because they're cute and they're cool. It's not Alvin and the pigs. No one's like, oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, we all had to read Charlotte's Web, and Charlotte's Web is lies. That pig just gets eaten after that book ends.
And that's why that's such a classic novel, is it did the impossible. It made us feel empathy for a pig.
Yeah, it's Babe Pig in the City still makes me want to eat sausage. It's not, you haven't turned me.
It's just delicious.
Yeah.
They're
Who doesn't love a good pork
things.
product?
Yeah. Sure, they have brains and whatever, but they're also full of delicious treats. They're like walking piñatas. We're not going to eat that? That sounds unfair.
Pork rinds?
Yeah. Even the parts we used to throw away, we can make delicious treats out of now.
Pickled pig's feet?
The feet. The fucking feet are delicious.
Good. You give the ear to your dog.
Yeah, it's the best weekend of your dog's year.
And you
if it gets to chew on a fucking pig ear all day.
And you make a football.
Yeah, exactly. The national pastime is wrapped in pig flesh.
So Lisa decides she's going to have to give up this pony because she realizes it is slowly killing her father, which Homer is not doing well. But she finally just bites the bullet and gets rid of the horse, and everything's back to normal.
One note, too, I love how the kids watch Johnny Carson. You got a couple Johnny Carson on the... It's like, that's a very interesting choice for a 9-year-old.
And I like that the joke even goes a step further in that they don't really care for it. Because, of course, they don't. They're 10 and 8. Yeah, they're not getting Johnny Carson.
He's making fucking Michael Dukakis jokes. They're 9 years old.
Yeah, they're watching it, but they're still just kind of like, okay. Yeah. Good episode to see that I like that they finally did an episode where Lisa gets a pony, because we talk about it a lot.
Yeah, she deserved it. She has to put up with a lot in this horseshit family. She deserves to have a pony, even for a brief moment.
Yeah, so... She gets one and gets it for a bit, and it's better to have loved and lost.
So that was a very heavy Lisa-centric episode. Now we get a pretty heavy Bart and Homer-centric episode.
Yep.
Saturdays of Thunder. So Homer takes a fatherhood quiz, which he didn't have to, because anyone that's met him knows he's a piece of shit father.
And no one's ever gotten revelations from a magazine personality quiz.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah. But if you look at my Facebook feed, some people still need to fucking hear that, Marlin.
Which Hogwarts house are you? Shut the fuck up.
I don't care. None of this matters.
I'm only on Facebook to see if the world's over yet. Yeah. Or to promote a great Simpsons podcast. It's the extent of my Facebook use.
This episode starts with Homer watching infomercials, featuring an infomercial with both Troy McClure and Dr. Nick.
Yep.
That's a sign you're in for a good fucking episode, because those two are gems.
That's a solid television product if those are your stars. And it's for a cleaning product, and they demonstrate its cleaning power by polishing the tombstone of Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah. Sure, why not?
Yeah. And to kind of show Homer's pathetic parenting, is Bart is like asking for all the power tools, and Homer's so negligent. He's like, "Oh, yeah, we'll do whatever you want."
Yeah. At one point, Bart goes, "I can't find the safety goggles," and Homer goes, "Yeah, if something starts flying out, just turn your head."
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, you can tell there wasn't enough father-son tool training in that family, because that fucking kid's going to get arc eye if he doesn't start using that welding helmet properly.
Yeah, he's got the helmet on, or the mask on, but has it flipped up and is just squinting. That's not how that works.
You can squint as much as you want, kid. You're not going to be able to see for a couple of days after that. And I do also, not only we get Troy McClure and Dr. Nick, we get McBain.
Yep.
In a Lethal Weapon ripoff, which is terrific.
Yeah, the classic 2 days from retirement, and then I'm going to sail around the world.
I think that's playing on the TV in the video store. I miss that, like how there was always just movies running in the video store to try and entice you into renting it.
Yeah, that like I feel like for people our age made us all want to work in video stores.
Yep, exactly. Have some control over that. Yeah.
Yep. And
when they're looking at movies, Homer's looking at like a collection of VHS like football blooper tapes.
Yep.
If you were to, because Bart's what, 10? If you were to show that to a 10-year-old now, like what went into it, like we go to the store, we rent a heavy chunk of plastic, and we put it in a loud machine that will produce an image, a not clear image, of football players fucking splitting their pants and shit. That would be the equivalent of someone showing us humorous cave drawings. Like, oh, these people's malformed brains thought this was funny. Let's just clap and okay, here you go. Yeah. How much things can change, man. That wasn't even 30 years ago. It seems like it was centuries ago.
Yeah, a 10-year-old, if we described that to them, would just like pat us on the head like, oh, you what a precious old man you are.
Remember when a third of your living room's square footage was taken up with a particle board monstrosity to hold up your 700-pound tube TV? I love seeing fucking knuckleheads still trying to sell these on Craigslist. Like, throw that away, you dumb son of a bitch. No, yeah, that would be perfect to hold my fucking 17-inch by 17-inch by 30-inch 400-pound TV, you fucking dolt.
Yeah, and then
Bill Clinton was president when I got rid of mine.
And then they get mad when you point out that it's not worth anything. Like, what? Yeah. I paid $800 for that in '96. Yeah, and now it's worth nothing.
Yep. How about you pay me $40 to remove it from your home?
Right.
Because that's what you're going to have to do. Or that you'll die with it, and your fucking kids will curse your name as they chop it into fucking firewood.
Yeah. You've got to just pay for fucking labor to move the fucking thing. I got to call a buddy to get this out of here.
Oh, one thing about this episode, too, we get some prime fucking Patty and Selma.
Yeah.
Like, when Homer comes to the realization he's a terrible father, he, like, falls to his knees and, like, I'm a terrible father. And then Selma goes, you're also fat. Which is such perfect. And I'm also fat. And I gotta ask, Patty and Selma with those hot new hairstyles, that do anything for you?
The Mary Tyler Moore, and you sit up, you pay attention a little.
They got that, because we already saw in season 2, they got that fucking up front fucking bangers, bud. That foot-long cleavage.
The only thing I thought for the rest of the episode after they get their hair done is, fuck, now I can't tell them apart. I don't know which one's which now, because I had only figured that out thanks to knowing which haircut is which. But now I'm just like, I don't know which one is which.
In this episode, too, we do get Bill Cosby's fatherhood book mentioned. Homer is like, ooh. So we get a Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson in the same season.
Yep, it's a minefield of a season.
Did not age well.
Also, I'm surprised that we got a Bill Cosby reference when the Cosby Show is a competitor.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, I think they were kind of like bowing out around this time. They were in their final season,
okay.
So because that actually comes up later in this. I'm going to be giving something away from a future episode, but at the end of one of the episodes of The Simpsons that aired the same night as the final Cosby Show episode, they did like a little 90-second thing where they're at home watching watching the Cosby Show.
Huh.
Kind of as like a salute to like, hey, a great show went off the air, which I always appreciate that when competitors can doff their cap and, give some respect.
Yeah, shake hands after the game.
So after all of this, the episode starts off great. Lots of good laughs. But then we kind of get into the meat of the story. It's when Homer finally realizes, like in his attempt to be a good dad, that my son has been working on a project in the garage for weeks now, and discovers that Bart is determined to win the Soapbox Racer Challenge.
Yeah, but he's out in the shop building this ramshackle soapbox car.
Very Norman Rockwell-esque, like just nailing soup cans for headlights.
Yeah.
Like, oh, adorable.
Just as little rascals as possible.
Yeah, and Bart doesn't want help because he's a smart enough kid to know his old man's a fucking idiot. Mm-hmm. But Homer, puppy dog eyes him and convinces him to let him be part of the gang, and they get like matching shirts for like Simpson Racing. And
yeah, we get a
ready.
fun little montage of them working on the car.
Yeah. They get there. There are not a whole lot of competitors from what I can see.
No, pretty thin list.
And his piece of shit car, Martin's amazing because he talks about using the wind tunnel. Martin's got like a space age soapbox racer. And then Nelson shows up with what could only be described as like a prototype for Bowser's go-kart in Mario Kart. It's like it's a dragon made into a soapbox racer.
Yeah,
lots of sharp things sticking out.
Yeah, with rim rippers that poke out the sides to shred everyone else's car. Like, who's
Death
the
Race
judges here?
2000, yeah.
who's letting this car into this race?
And I love, the best part about this is how racing, like Martin has it in his veins, and it's changed him as a man. He's very short-tempered right now. He's very angry. And they get in the race, and again, Bart's is by far the biggest fucking disaster of it. But Martin wins, but at what cost? Because it appears that he burns alive. There's a child on fire.
I like when they show his car going down the hill. They show the nose of it starting to glow red to imply that that's how fast he's going.
He's re-entering the atmosphere.
There's such good sight gags throughout this entire thing.
And
and then crashes into the wall. The car ignites, and so does he.
A child runs in agony on fire.
Yeah, he goes running off screen on fire, and the fire department puts out the car, ignoring Martin.
And Martin, still has a taste for, he wants his car is the honor roller, which is a nice touch.
Yeah.
He wants the honor roller to win the championship, which is just him versus Nelson. And he knows he's in no condition to race, so he enlists Bart to take over honor roller. So Bart has a moral dilemma. Do I keep working with Dad on our shitbox car, or do I take the chance at glory and join Team Martin? And Bart, not a dum-dum, uses his brain over his heart, and he's going to be part of Team Martin, which breaks Homer's heart. And in true Homer fashion, is a petty sack of shit. He just completely just lays on the couch, doesn't wish his son good luck, just pouts like a fucking bitch.
Yep.
It's really tough for me not to just hate Homer most of the time. He's just such a terrible person.
Yeah, and it's like, I think for me anyway, I think that key word is petty. Oh my God, is he such an asshole over the littlest things?
Yep.
Such a petulant fucking child.
So it's race day. So now it's, Bart is going to be racing the honor roller. And the announcers, a great joke when the announcers are talking about the race. And he refers to them as these Junior Al Unser Juniors, which is such a random ass racing joke to make. Like, what percentage of the population knew who Al Unser Jr. was?
I think that's, I certainly didn't. But but as soon as I heard it, I was like, I bet that joke is not only accurate, but really funny to someone who knows who's in that wheelhouse.
Exactly.
Similar to the way that your basketball nerd brain wouldn't let you just pick a random Laker last week, and you had to choose a Laker who would conceivably be shooting a three-pointer. I feel like that's the same mentality.
Yeah. This isn't it wouldn't be Dale Earnhardt. They're not racing in a circle. We need consistency.
Yeah.
So then they have the big race, and very, very full of battling because again they got the what did you call the spikes out of the tires? The
rim
rims?
rippers. I don't know if that's what they're actually called, but that's what I'm going with.
But yeah,
I just said it with confidence and went with it. Very
contested race going right down to the wire, but honor roller wins. Martin is really jazzed about this. He's full of beans. I'm really loving Spicy Martin. Tell you that I like me a Spicy Martin. Hope he keeps racing. And then
that sounds like
Bart,
an item of food you buy at a gas station. A Spicy Martin.
And then I do like that Bart and Homer reunite in their love of being poor sports when they win. like Homer is a grown man mocking a child. I mean, Nelson has a gland issue. He's the size of an adult, but he's still a child, and Homer mocks him. After Nelson uncharacteristically tries to be a good sport. Hey, put it there. That was a great race. It's like, nope, we're pieces of shit.
And they're blowing raspberries and na at poor... I almost said at poor Nelson. That's how shitty they're being. That for a second, my brain reflexively took pity on Nelson.
So that was Saturdays of Thunder was the title of that episode.
Pretty solid. I like when they do things... how do I put this? It's kind of like they did with the trial of Krusty, where it's this hugely overblown media thing. They do the same thing with this small town soapbox derby.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like the news is covering it, and it has custom graphics, and they act like it's the Olympics.
Yep. It's kind of like going for like an ABC Wide World of Sports type thing.
Yeah.
Like just cutting to some random unannounced sporting event.
I love when they have anything that's going to be on television, they act like it's the biggest thing in the world, and I think that's a fun touch that the Simpsons do. That brings us now to episode 9, Flamin' Moe's. Pretty solid episode, which I liked a lot, and features Aerosmith.
It does.
Which I was surprised to see, but we'll get to that when it comes up.
Yeah, I think we're both men that appreciate a little classic rock. Where do you stand on Aerosmith?
I like the old stuff, and then I like about 40% of the rest of it.
Yeah, man.
To me, like Toys in the Attic was kind of the last record that I care for. After that, I owned a lot of Aerosmith. I owned 9 Lives, which isn't a good album. But I owned it.
I owned the CD single for Fallen in Love is Hard on the Knees. I remember making that decision. I'm going to purchase this. I'm going to spend $5, which is I made it an hour of work back then, so I could listen to this one very mediocre song over and over again.
I remember seeing singles and being like, who's buying these? Apparently you.
I do also remember going to Minot around that same time, wanting to purchase the Twister soundtrack, but it was out of stock, so I just got the Oasis Wonderwall single instead.
Ooh. How do you feel about that trade? You feel good about it?
I got the Twister soundtrack right a week later. I couldn't resist. Who can resist humans being...
I was about to say... the Twisters,
easily the best Van Hagar song is Humans Being.
I cannot believe how on the same page we are, because I was just about to say that the Twister soundtrack contains Humans Being, which is easily my favorite Van Halen song. I'll put it, whether it's Dave or Sammy, I'll put it on at the top of both.
It'd be high at my overall list. It'd be in a top 8 for me, I would say. I do love some early Van Halen, but I will also say perhaps my favorite Shania Twain song is also on No One Needs to Know.
Okay, that's a deep cut that I do not know.
If you think you can judge a man by his taste in Shania Twain, I'm going to let that out there. That should replace the horoscope. You ask someone what their favorite Shania Twain song is, and go from there.
Mine we sang a couple weeks ago, which is "Whose Bed Have Your Boots Been Under?" But also, Shania, I just know the hits. I don't know any B cuts.
Yeah. I'm not doing... And see, that's my thing with Aerosmith. I'm not an Aerosmith fan, but again, I've never dived in. But they've just never... always been baffled by how big they are. Because Aerosmith is fucking big, man. But I do appreciate in this episode, they will play music for free pickled eggs.
Yep.
And we have discussed our joy of pickled food.
Mm-hmm. Eggs in particular.
I may not enjoy their music, but I have really appreciated watching Steven Tyler's metamorphosis from aging rocker to... cool grandma? Is that probably the vibe he's putting off now?
Yeah, that's how I see him, like someone's cool aunt.
Yeah, like you see them at a flea market, they're buying all sorts of turquoise shit.
Always got a scarf for no reason. It's just an accent scarf.
Middle of the summer, draped in scarves but also weighs $103 and is 6'2", so probably very poor circulatory system. So probably cold all the time. So it adds up.
Yeah, I don't count myself as a massive Aerosmith fan, but I bet there's a dozen songs I really like. So.
I also, the ongoing thing we've had about, like, how big is Springfield? Because I love how this episode starts with them having their own infotainment news show called Eye on Springfield.
Yep, which is so good. Oh, my God. Yeah. The 90s graphics and the fact that it's clearly just selling TNA. It's Kent Brockman, like the facade of the show is like telling you what's up around Springfield, but there's a bikini shot every other shot.
Yeah, I almost got like a nostalgic half chub for like the 90s, early 90s bikini bottoms that rode way up the hips.
The real high on the sides.
Yeah, that was a huge thing back then.
The American Gladiator bottoms.
Yep, exactly. Like, and then, like, sometime in the 90s, they were just gone and just regular bikini bottoms. But for that hot minute, like, from the bottom of the crotch to the top of the hip, a bikini bottom was 2.5 feet long. It was like, it was meant to hang snugly on a woman's bottom rib.
Yeah, you pull it up and just hook it on the ribs. Yeah, the ridiculous bikinis of the 90s. My favorite of that sequence was the title card, the Eye on Springfield title card with all the colorful triangles and squiggles just floating across the screen like the Saved by the Bell opening.
Yeah, that screams 1991 as well.
I'm a sucker for that era of graphic design. Like, I don't know, like just 4 neon colors kind of floating.
God, that was bright neon was everywhere in like 1991.
Yeah, that's a design that would be on someone's Trapper Keeper.
Yep. Oh my God, Trapper Keeper! Like they must have been running out of neon colors at the printing factory on a weekly basis. Or nothing was subdued about a Trapper Keeper in 1991.
No, Trapper Keepers were like, here's a white tiger floating through the Milky Way. What?
I can't believe I am just realizing this now, but speaking of Trapper Keepers, you know what kind of Trapper Keeper I had in the 6th grade, Marlin?
What is that?
A Simpsons Trapper Keeper.
Oh, shit. Look at that.
It was of a mischievous Bart holding a piece of chalk, and I think he had wrote "No school today" on the chalkboard, that little stinker.
Oh, look at you with your attitudinal Trapper Keeper.
What do you do when you're 9 years old and there's no school? It's not like you can just hit the fucking road. You just mill around waiting for a bus to pick you up.
No school today. We're going to get up to some... Nothing really.
Gonna sit in this brick room with nothing entertaining and look at each other till we get hungry. Yeah. Then we'll go get an adult.
Or if it were me, we're gonna do chores.
Yeah.
Probably get yelled at. So this episode starts off with Lisa having a slumber party, and the girls are getting up to slumber party stuff, picking on Bart. They give Maggie a makeover. They're being loud and talking about boys and doing girl stuff. And Homer goes down to Moe's just to escape it. He's just like, fuck this, and goes to Moe's.
I love, too, where's Marge? Marge is so rarely not in the house, but she's just gone during this time, it seems
which leads you to believe that she's not there, which then leads you to believe that Homer leaves those kids unattended when he leaves.
Yeah. One thing I like about the slumber party is it starts with them dropping candle wax into water to figure out what their future husband's occupation was.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing that kids actually did. I had to take on faith that it is.
I will say this, it shows how much quicker girls' brains mature than boys, because if that's what a fucking 11-year-old boys are starting shit on fire. Just in someone's basement in the dark, burning shit, or lighting each other's farts on fire if someone has told them that that's a thing. That was the biggest scientific breakthrough in our middle school, is when we found out that farts were flammable.
Man, I still at 35 have never seen that, and I'm assuming, being 35, I'm never going to, because I can't imagine what situation.
You're going to see it the next time I see you in person. You and I are going to sit down in a garage somewhere with barbecue lighters and a big old bag of Mills Fleet Farm dried apricots. Jumpstart these and we're going to light some farts because you were a good person and you need to see that. You've earned that, Marlin. Treat yourself to a shout out to it was the 7th or 8th grade Halloween dance in my school, and someone decided to be cute during this certain song that every time the music stopped they'd kill the light. There's like boop, lights are going, oh, it's Halloween, it's scary. A kid named Jeremy in my grade, shout out to Jeremy, lit a fart that he had probably been holding in since late summer because it blossomed like it danced, like a flame that danced like out of his spread legs and like reached the rafters. It was an enchanting lit fart. So they could have just shut the music off for the next 2 hours. That's all anyone was talking about.
Ain't nobody gonna follow that.
It was like it was a combination of the guys talking about holy shit, that's the coolest thing ever, with the girls talking, we're gonna have to date boys from other towns because these boys are defective.
These animals. I love the direction I was going was, I guess I missed it. I'll never see that. And you immediately swooped into the rescue. Enrique Iglesias style.
Not on my watch. You're going to witness the beauty, the majesty of a lit fart.
Oh, God. So Homer goes to Moe's to escape the slumber party, and Moe's is in some level of disrepair. It's not a successful bar by any means. I have certainly drank in worse just looking at it, but still, it ain't the Ritz. So Moe is kind of lamenting this, and he says he's unable to give Homer a beer because there is no beer because he fell behind on his beer payments. He says, quote, if it wasn't for the junior high next door, no one would ever use the cigarette machine. He informs
He's in financial hard times.
Yeah, he informs Homer he blew his last 10 grand on the love meter machine. So Moe's not doing great, but Homer is like, well, I know a concoction for a drink, and he mixes up this drink that's several different alcohols in a blender, along with some Krusty's children's cough syrup, and he tosses it in there and blends it all up, and then lights it on fire. And Moe's like, totally impressed. The Homer has created quite a drink, which Moe immediately takes all the credit for making.
This is basically just lean, right? It's just a fancier version of lean.
Right. It's the same, like Lil Wayne right now is just drinking codeine cough syrup with Sprite on the rocks.
Yeah.
You know.
So this is just a little more churched up version of Purple Drink.
Yeah. So they're years ahead of the codeine cough syrup drinking.
The craze.
Yeah, the SoundCloud rappers, they're all doing it. Like, The Simpsons was talking about it years before Riff Raff got a hold of it.
Yeah.
Riff Raff, who has a Bart Simpson tattoo on his chest. So look at that.
Very true. Very true.
He probably saw this episode. Jody High Roller watching Simpsons drinking Purple Drink.
The neon icon.
Hell yeah. The Versace
Rookie
Python.
of the future.
I'm not going to lie. I love Riff Raff.
He has a song titled Larry Bird. Yeah. It's over. I'm in. The rest of the songs could be talking shit about my family. I don't care. There's a song about Larry Bird. That's game over, man. You win. Take my money.
He's got a song called Larry Bird. Yeah, but the next song on that record is called Fuck the Fulsa Box. I don't care.
Hey.
It's great.
Yeah.
I once drove with a buddy of mine 4 hours to go to the Vans Warped Tour in Minneapolis. We drove 4 hours down there. We waited for 4 hours in the summer heat and sun to watch Riff Raff play for 20 minutes and then drove 4 hours home.
I wonder what was that? I'm at a point now where I don't like weighing myself in pounds because it's depressing. So I'm going to start weighing myself in like disgruntled pop punk teens. I'm like 7.5 disgruntled pop punk teens.
Oh, man. And this was like 4 or 5 years ago. So I was like 30 or 31 at the time, and I remember it was one of my very first like moments of feeling like an adult, because I'm just looking around at these children and being like, who does your dad know that's what you're wearing? Are you okay? Have you drank enough water?
I was just going to say the hydration aspect. I always think of that when I see it. It's like, you're on asphalt for 8 fucking hours in July. You need to drink water.
Like at one point a teen approached the two of us and I was like, what, do they think that we have drugs to sell them? But no, they just wanted to know where the bathroom was, and they found an adult, and it just happened to be us.
I assume they thought you were janitors or something. Like, where do we throw our popsicle sticks?
I have never felt older than being around those kids, those infants at the Vans Warped Tour. Also, because other than Riff Raff, I didn't know a band that was there.
Yeah, but there was a lot of screaming.
Yeah, it was, and the whole time I was like, "Oh, it's so loud!" Like I was old that day. I don't know how we got to Riff Raff. Oh, codeine, right?
Yeah, drinking cough
drinking scissor. So Mo takes all the credit for coming up with the Flamin' Mo, and it becomes a huge hit to the point where he renames his bar the Flamin' Mo, and the Flamin' Mo is the talk of the town. The bar is always packed to the point where they then get a velvet rope and a bouncer, and Kent Brockman is there. It is the place to be because Mo has this drink that, quote unquote, he invented. And the bar is always packed, and there's a representative from an alcohol and food company who wants to buy the recipe.
Tipsy McStagger.
Tipsy McStagger. Yes.
Which I'm wondering, is that a play on like Dr. McGillicuddy?
Oh, sure, I could see that.
Yeah,
I thought the same. Like, I didn't know if it was pointing directly at something, but yeah, I could see that.
Because I don't know if you remember this, because it probably wasn't really your neck of North Dakota, but in the late 90s, Dr. McGillicuddy paid the town of Granville, North Dakota, I think they paid him like $100,000 to change their name to McGillicuddy City.
Really?
Yeah. So if you drive into Granville, population, I don't know, fucking 300 maybe. There's a big "Welcome to McGillicuddy City, USA" sign, which is probably now in disrepair because I think they built like a rec center. So it's just a town. They don't have a school anymore. It's kind of a sad scene. By God, they got a sharp looking rec center.
It's so fucking weird.
Yep.
we should see if they book comedy at the McGillicuddy Rec Center.
I wonder what like demographic boxes that Granville, North Dakota hit to make that like, that's it. That's the city we want repping us. What's the average age? 77. Perfect.
Yeah. Dr. McGillicuddy, they like schnapps there, right?
Yeah. Schnapps is a cold weather drink, especially peppermint schnapps.
Yeah, and McGillicuddy's has got you covered.
Yep.
Boy, if we're looking for a sponsorship.
Yeah, I will drink fucking schnapps till I don't like myself anymore. If they'll throw a little cash our way, whatever they need.
If you're reaching for a schnapps bottle, if you're looking for a nip to keep the winter at bay, what are you pulling?
Oh my God. I smell schnapps. I'm immediately taken to high school because we drank that shit like by the gallon. Like, I don't know, man. It probably would be some kind of peppermint or some kind of minty type shit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a peppermint man. Or as a far off backup, I'll take a peach.
Yep. Yeah. Peach. Yeah. If I smell peach schnapps, it's instantly 1996. It's like, oh yes. Someone stole this from their parents. Party.
It was never schnapps, but schnapps adjacent. There was always a bottle of blackberry brandy in the glove compartment of the chore pickup.
That's another fishing
in my youth
liqueur. Yeah. I also remember when like sour, like there's a few different sour schnapses that were like real tart.
Like
they
Pucker?
were kind of a rage. Pucker. There's also sour puss.
Okay.
There was competing sour schnapses. So
Yeah, I remember those. I remember Pucker. I don't think we ever got... Sourpuss rings a bell, but...
I remember a bar in my hometown burnt down, and all they were able to salvage was like 400 cases of Milwaukee's Best and like 700 traveler-sized bottles of butter shots, like butterscotch schnapps. So like, and that's what we would drink. And though that beer got hot because it had like a crispy burnt taste to it, which you don't want in a beer. But hey, any port in a storm when you're 15, am I right?
Yeah, when you're 15, as long as it gets you twisted, I don't care what it is. Yeah, I'm with you. But the Flamin' Mo is a massive hit. The bar is doing better than anyone could have ever dreamed. Mo really turned it around, and Mo's throwing a big shindig one night, and Aerosmith happens to be there. He goads them into getting on stage and performing "Walk This Way." I think pretty solid animation on the Aerosmith. You can look at that and be like, "Yep, Joe Perry, Steven Tyler, yep."
The other three
other guys in Aerosmith, who I
the
don't
short
know.
one, the tall one, the other guy.
Yeah. Drummer, bassist, yeah, sure. They could replace the other three in Aerosmith with, 3 kids in a duffel coat, like in a trench coat, and I don't think I'd notice.
Yeah. One thing I love too when they show Mo's bar really hopping to be in the hot place to be, we get Mrs. Krabappel in all of her glory. She is quickly becoming my favorite. She is so she's trying to break up marriages. Like, Homer mentions he's married, she doesn't even fucking flinch.
Nope.
And she's dressed like a fucking backup dancer in a Winger video, which is so great.
I love the other side of Mrs. Krabappel.
Yeah.
Like, we see her as the teacher all the time, but occasionally when this other side, this super sexualized side of this teacher comes out,
she is a public servant all day. Goes home to a no. She just wants strange dick every other week. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, she hits on substitutes. She hooks up with sushi chefs, and now she's at Moe's in a tube top.
And she is down to clown. They are screwing in like a Toyota Tercel, like a car not meant for fucking. Like what you say, he's got a 15-minute lunch break. We got to fucking pound out the veal quick. She will
pound out the veal.
She is not one. She's not one to all of a sudden, get highfalutin on a guy.
That is the least delicate phrase I have ever heard used.
Guarantee, but in the alley behind Moe's, there is a Mrs. Krabappel shaped dent in several bags of like aluminum cans. That's like her little party hole.
Butt print. Oh, don't say party hole again. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. I was thinking more of an alley because of the darkness, but you can go whatever way you want with that.
Something about that didn't hit my ear right. Oh God. They do a fun like Cheers intro.
Oh, so great!
But with Moe's, like they change the song and all of the animation, all the stills, the placards are all like these two guys, one stabbing the other with a broken bottle.
Yeah,
all set to a Cheers knockoff theme song, which I really liked. Yeah. And that's kind of crowbarred in for no reason. They just do it because it's funny. And I'm like, that's a good reason to do it, just because.
I agree.
Homer's still sour about Moe having stolen his recipe for the Flaming Homer, as he called it, before Moe took it over. Goes and visits our boy Lionel Hutz, who informs Homer that he sadly does not have a case because you can't trademark a cocktail. And a waitress that Moe had hired earlier and is apparently stooping, or at least stoops once, convinces him.
We have video evidence of one stooping.
Yep, there's one or more stoops.
Or either it's a very casual co-sleep type situation.
Maybe that's it. Just needed to put her head down.
We didn't see penetration. We can't be certain what happened here.
Yeah, they don't do that on The Simpsons.
Yet.
So, hey, they went 30 seasons. They had to have come around to it.
We'll wait for the ratings to downturn. It's Fox. They'll throw anything at a wall.
I'm sure that if you went to Google, you could find Simpsons stooping each other. I'm staying away.
That is a phenomenon.
But I bet you could.
You probably know, dear listeners, by listening to this podcast for the 9 episodes so far.
Yeah.
I'm not a prude. I'm a dirty boy, but man,
you did just use the phrase "pounding the veal."
Yeah, I don't see why, man. Like, you're on Pornhub, you got an afternoon to kill, glaze a knuckle or two. Hey, it's whatever you want to do, man. It's your life, but you got all those options. Do you really need to watch Lois Griffin and fucking Marge Scissor? Is that really what's all the other options with real people doing real fucking? That's what's gonna do it for you, man. It's gotta be poorly animated.
No,
I don't get it, man.
No judgments. You do you, but why? Yep, yeah. I'm with you. But the waitress convinces Moe that selling the recipe and giving half to Homer is the right thing to do, and Moe obliges. He's like, yeah, that's what I'll do. But in the meantime, Homer has lost his fucking mind. Homer completely off his tits. And he's up in the rafters of Moe's bar doing a Phantom of the Opera bit, I think. Because he's...
Yep, that has to be. Yeah, good call.
He has his bathrobe on like a cape and is covering half his face with it. And... The representative from Tipsy McStaggers is there, about to sign and give Moe his money for the recipe, when Homer from the rafters, having lost his mind, just blurts out the recipe, gives the secret ingredient, which is the cough syrup, and so the representative from McStaggers quickly tears up the contract and gets out of there, and then they cut to the rest of the street. And it's just every storefront is now selling a Flaming Moe's, because now everyone knows how to make it.
Yeah.
And they show like all these, like here's a cart that sells Flaming Moe's. Here's another bar that's Flaming Moe's, but it's spelled different. And one of them is a clearly fancier than the rest joint, and they're Flaming Moe's, but it's spelled like MEAUX.
Yeah. Like, it's French because that's classy.
Yeah, I like that someone made an upscale Flaming Moe's. Yeah. An upscale drink that has cough syrup in it.
Yeah, like children's cough syrup.
Yeah, a real fancy version of it.
Yeah.
But so now Moe's bar is kind of destitute once again, and everything's back to normal, and he and Homer make up and everything's fine.
Good episode.
You ever catch yourself knocking back a little cough syrup when you ain't sick, just for funsies? Are you getting your lean on?
I had some codeine cough syrup for some ailment I had. I don't know, man. I don't think I was built for drugs. I mean, liquor, sure. Liquor's a whole other thing. But, man, I don't know. It just makes me either feel queasy or I just fall asleep. Yeah. I don't really get that.
Yeah, I also have never once seen the appeal of like, man, I want to get fucked up. Let's get some cough syrup.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Or like huffing. I never huffed.
Yeah, same here. Never huffed.
Yeah.
I
just don't like any of that kind of shit. Like, people used to say like, yeah, I get a buzz from smoking. It's like, yeah, man. I think that's just nausea from inhaling poison. It's like, ever get the flu, man? That's like a 3-day monster buzz, dude.
Yeah, I've never understood drinking cough syrup. Like, you can just get fucked up like a normal person.
Yeah.
I've never understood the weird routes that some people take to get twisted.
To each their own.
Yeah, takes all sorts.
You want to, kick back a bottle of Robitussin. Someone else wants to kick back a fine Chardonnay. Hey, different strokes.
Yeah, you're out here rubbing cold medicine on your gums, watching cartoons bang on your telephone. Go nuts.
Yeah. If you're butt chugging Robitussin while you're watching, fucking Judy Jetson riding Wilma Rubble's face, God bless you. I'm glad that exists for you. See, that's one thing. I don't think that should be free content. If I find it distasteful, you should at least be paying for it.
Yeah, if you turn your nose up at it, someone should have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's indecent. I've decided. We're up to our next episode, which for our German listeners, do we have any German downloads yet, Marlin?
No, we do not. That's not to say that we don't have any German-speaking people who've downloaded this show.
Yeah, if they're in Belgium, shout out to our Belgian fans.
Yes, thank you for the one person in Brussels who downloaded this show.
Oh man, that's so great.
I can't
God
see.
Bless you.
I can't see if you've downloaded any others just now, but I hope you stuck around for more than one.
Yeah, dear listener in you probably speak some kind of Germanic language if it is in Germany. So this is to you. The next episode is called Burns Verkaufen der Kraftwerk.
Yep.
I think I gave a decent pronunciation. So this one, it starts with Homer getting a call.
Which, by the way, translates to Burns sells the power plant.
No, look at you go.
Yep. So
that's
my junior and senior year of high school, because I was an avid Rammstein fan, took 2 years of high school German.
Your high school offered German?
As a... what's it called? My junior year, I took it as an independent study, taking it by myself with a friend of mine who also wanted it.
And then was that you guys in an alleyway in a car listening to Rammstein CDs on a loop?
That was me for sure. I think she just wanted to take it to have a foreign language on a college college application, and I was just like, I love that band and would be cool with knowing what they're saying. Sure, I'm in. So we took.
I'm going to say, too, how awesome is the lie that they told us that you need all this shit to get into college? Like, you got to have a foreign language. You got to have a speech. No, you don't. You know what you got to do? You got to be willing to sign away your financial life. That's
exactly.
Like,
you know what you need to get into college? A check. That's it.
Yep, a social security number. You're in.
But yeah, so the two of us took 2 years of German. The first being independent study, where you do it completely on your own, and another of my senior year. The school did that thing that so many small town schools did at the time, where they put in I think they called it ITV, like a room full of televisions with a camera so you can remote learn.
That would have probably been around the same time I'm a bit older than Marlin. I was back home working in the boilers in our local college, and they were offering a summer class of speech. And I'm like, I'll take speech in a summer class. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of people in there. It'll be pretty low stress. I was correct, because I was one of 3 students in a 3-week course. And for 2 weeks of the class, the other 2 girls who were in high school were in their high school Spanish club trip to Mexico, which is just, them getting their hair braided.
Right.
That's the whole thing. And when Midwest girls go to Mexico for the Spanish club trip, they just come back with the Bo Derek braids.
Yeah, braids and sunburns.
Yep. So I took speech class where it was just me staring into a camera with some students in some other town. It was very, very bizarre.
Yeah, it was the same here, because it was the 2 of us, and then like a full classroom in Center, North Dakota, where there's 10 kids, and that's where the teacher is, and then just us 2 yahoos, like 100 miles away, just being like, hey, we're here too.
I kind of forget especially southern central North Dakota's real German country too.
Yeah,
that makes more sense too.
All the Norskis are out on this side of the state, and the Russian Germans ended up on the west side.
I don't know what it was that it was up until recently that North Dakota was the only state in the Union that Spanish wasn't the second most spoken language in the home. It was still German.
Yeah.
That might have finally changed now, but up until I remember hearing somewhere that they were still doing Lutheran church services in German into the early 90s in some small churches, which is bonkers to me. So we are on to
Verkaufen der Kraftwerk.
That was said with the diction of a pro. I like it. So Homer gets a call from his stockbroker, who is terrific. He's like in an unfinished basement at a desk with like candlelight. So I don't think he's killing it.
Not doing well.
He has to let Homer know that his stock that he was given to, I think It was basically they were given stock options so they wouldn't press charges against like a nuclear disaster or something. And he was informed that his stock had jumped up to $25, and Homer jumped at the chance to cash that stock out, which he didn't even know he had. Which I think, did he spend it on a fancy beer? Is that what it went towards?
He spent it on Duff Private Reserve down at Moe's.
He got the good Duff. He usually choked down the regular Duff, but by God, he's a man that made a killing in the market.
Yep, he earned $25 in the stock market.
Yeah, and then rumor gets out that Mr. Burns is going to sell the plant to a German consortium of businessmen. So the price of the stock does skyrocket. I think Homer's would have been worth $5,200.
Yep.
But he cashed out like hours earlier at 25. So
and everyone is so excited. The family is like, "Oh, we have such good plans for this money. Marge says we're gonna have a savings account. We've never had one of those before." And like everyone is so thrilled that they're gonna get $5,200. And then fucking dope ass Homer has to walk in and be like, "Yeah, I bought a beer with it. I sold it for $25." He's so out of the loop, doesn't even know.
And I love, too, that, like, he shows up to work and everyone's pulling up in, like, luxury cars. It's like, even if you factor in inflation, $5,200 wasn't, like, life-altering money. Like, it was good, but, like...
I had the same thought because everyone is, like, living large now, and it's like, $5,200 is not life-changing money.
Yeah, but it was, I think they're all I can't think of the names. I don't think it was Lenny that got plastic surgery.
Lenny's got plastic surgery.
Yeah.
So he just has the biggest smile the whole time.
Yeah. And then they find out, the rumors that the Germans are going to buy, and they're all kind of scared they're all going to lose their jobs. And the sale goes through, and it turns out they don't all lose their jobs. Except Homer, who should justifiably lose his job.
He's got it. Yes, he has that coming.
They all rattle off like, well, they can't fire me because I am the only one that can do this. And then it cuts to Homer, and he's just like, I can. Like he has to make something up because he does nothing at work all day. So he loses his job. And then the Germans are trying to change things around the plant and all that. And I think at that point, Homer's just drowning his sorrows in Moe's.
Yep, and I did want to point out the two main Germans are named Hans and Fritz. So, as you pointed out in an earlier podcast episode, I think we can safely say that Fritz is not a German slur because that's what that man's name is.
There we go. We're bringing it back, even if it is.
Yep, Fritz.
That man shouldn't have to hide in shame because his name is Fritz.
I love that the one German says to them, like, I'm the most non-threatening. The chubby one, he's like, you might look at me and think of Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes, and that's exactly how he's drawn.
Yeah,
like just clearly is supposed to be Sergeant Schultz.
I do like too because I am always smitten when it's a Burns-centric episode. That cuts to him in that park. They're playing some kind of lawn bowling. Is that what that appears to be?
Bocce ball, yeah.
Is it bocce? Okay, and he is so feeble he can't throw the bocce ball. And very elderly men, Grandpa Burns, mock him for his weakness. Just so great. And then things are seemingly going well at the power plant. Like they're fixing things that need to be fixed. But again, Homer, dejected, unemployed, sitting at Moe's, and Bart pokes his head in. And I do like how Moe recognizes the voice for a second, and it's almost like rage is about to, like, he's gonna hit a kid, but then he's like, you're Homer Simpson's little boy.
Yeah, that is a great sight though, because as soon as Bart opens his mouth, Moe's like, wait a minute, and you think it's gonna happen.
And we've heard many a murderous threat from Moe after a prank call. And I love when they cut back. It's nice to know that the regulars at Moe's bar enjoy like a good rendition of the Teddy Bear's Picnic.
Yeah, which is that a song? Is that a real song? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I don't know what part of my childhood that's from, but it's a thing.
Oh, okay. I never once heard that song.
Yeah. And then Mr. Burns decides to poke his head, and he does not like being retired. He's just got that thing where it's like, I don't know what to do with my time. I'm just like that post-employment depression.
I also like how he like the idea of going into a blue collar, as he calls it, a blue collar bar is like a thrill to him.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. It's like some kind of weird role playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gets in there, and Homer sees him, and Homer, drunk and angry, lets him hear it that, hey, man, you ruined my life by selling that bar to those, or by selling the plant to those Germans. And Mr. Burns is kind of taken aback because he really has nothing he can do. He has to kind of sit there and take it.
Yeah.
So Homer, and then Bart stomps on his foot, and they both lay into him, and then the whole crowd starts mocking him, and he just like afraid and confused leaves the bar, doesn't know what to do, and he realizes that what good is money if the people around you aren't terrified of you?
He realizes that without being the boss, he's just an old man. Like, he's just toothless.
Yeah. And then, but perfectly for him, at the same time, the Germans are realizing, oh, this power plant cannot be saved. There's no way for us to make adjustments to fix this.
Yeah, they're looking at what they bought and realizing that it's a death trap.
Yeah, it's like we can't. The infrastructure is so damaged it can't be repaired. So perfectly, I think Mr. Burns offers them $50 million, half of what they paid for it.
Yeah,
and they still take it because they want to get out of that while they can. So Mr. Burns is back in charge, and all is right in the world.
Yep, and he takes his place behind his desk and is like really going full Mr. Burns. He's just like he's got a letter opener that just looks like a dagger, like a stiletto, and he's just like, yep, this is wow. And he rehires Homer. He's like, and then when he least expects it, I think he makes a reference to the sword of Damocles, which is hanging above Homer, and he has no idea. So he's just sitting at his desk just swearing revenge in the most like vicious, poisonous tone. It's so good. I love evil Burns.
Yeah, I do too. I like Burns to have full power so he can enact all of his evil fantasies.
Yeah, and if he can make an old-timey reference like the sword of Damocles, all the better. I think we've brought up before a week or two ago, I love Mr. Burns so much.
Yeah, his little like throwaway references are so great.
Yeah, he's so good.
Well, that's episode number 10, Marlin, so I think that's it.
That wraps it. We are done with this batch. Hell of a batch, by the way. Man, this show's so fucking good.
Bro, we are easily top 5 best North Dakota-based Simpson-centric podcasts out there. I think I'm confident enough to say that.
Yeah, I feel like as far as North Dakota Simpsons podcasts, easily top 5.
Yeah, step up. If you're out there, let's hear it.
Yeah.
We could use a beef to boost things, you know? Things are too placid here. We need some choppy water, Marlon, to get people talking about us.
Yeah.
If I got to get shot, I will for this podcast. I mean, we're going to have some parameters, prefer like maybe a 22, maybe like a 410 shotgun from a distance. Preferably a limb. I mean, I got a big enough torso, I could probably take it.
I love that you have a long list of qualifiers for this.
Yeah. Nothing in the bits and nothing in the face. Those are my money makers. I can't have you messing with either of them. I got to be able to have that winning smile and lay pipe. That's all that matters.
God forbid you are unable to pound the veal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let that phrase go. That was horrifying.
Picture me whispering it into your ear just as you're about to sleep.
No.
I'll have one of those cartoon sleeping hats on, like Homer had in his sleeping dream. Those hats that no one wears in real life.
Yep, the Ebenezer Scrooge night cap, the stocking cap that hangs down to your dick.
Yeah, but yet doesn't cover your ears.
Right.
It's like, why would you wear it? Like, what's the purpose of it?
Just for the skull, in case you get a little chilly skull.
Yeah.
So
just do what I do. Lick a bunch of napkins and stick them to the top of your head. Right?
Wait, is that what you do? And why? Yeah. That's my two-parter.
Keep your head warm.
So we're
making people laugh. We're giving out advice.
Yeah. We're here to help. we have another batch lined up for next week, which is episodes 11 through 15. Right, 11, 12, 13. Yes, 11 through 15 for next week. Keeping in mind that we are using the Disney Plus numbering and not like the DVD numbering, because we can't see that first Michael Jackson episode because that was taken away. So just a reminder that that's the numbering. Are you still watching Shooty Hoops? I haven't heard anything from Robin Lopez.
God damn it. Oh man, yeah, the Celtics pounded the Toronto Raptors last night on national television.
Oh, did they really take it to them?
Yeah.
I watched
good, Marlin.
I watched part of a Lakers game the other day. I'm still fucking baseball, it turns out, is a good sport.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, I'm hoping, man, if you can get into postseason baseball, if we can get those Marlin players to quit dry humping each other, have them quit laying in the buffets at casinos in Minnesota, which apparently is how they got, no, that was the Cardinals maybe that were laying in that.
Yeah. Which
eating wet lettuce out of each other's hands like fucking barbarians.
Apparently.
Trying to ruin our baseball season.
Apparently they're not completely turned around either, because they had a series this weekend. This will be old news by the time this comes out, but they had a series lined up with the Cubbies, and that got canceled.
Yeah.
Fucking baseball
Just cancel
players.
them.
Yeah. Who needs
they
St.
need
Louis?
etiquette classes. Like, they don't know how to wipe their butts right or something. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but they're fucking something up. They're the only two teams where everyone is sick.
Yeah. To hell with the Cardinals. We already got Nelly Nell and the St. Lunatics. We don't need anything more out of St. Louis or Missouri as a whole.
Yeah, I think we're good. We're tapped out.
Yeah, just cancel the Cardinals and let everyone, and the Marlins, and let everyone else play baseball.
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
I don't know if you know this fellow from New York called Aaron Judge. Hell of a player.
Yeah, 7'8", I believe.
Yes, he is.
Terrifying.
Nearly 8 feet tall. Just
it shows where we've come as a people. 200 years ago, they drove men like that out of the village and lit them aflame. And they either died or lived in the woods alone. But now we can celebrate them as the athletic marvels that they are.
Yeah, he would have been a terrifying carnival attraction.
Yeah, they would have made him eat cigars or something, or like raw chicken meat. But no, now he gets to hit baseballs over walls and make, I don't know, $70 million a year when he hits free agency, probably.
Yeah, just gets to knock dingers and enjoy himself. Probably eating croissants. That's the first fancy food I could think of. Not that fancy.
just a bucket full of unbuttered room temp croissants as he sits at the edge of a hotel bed and stares off into nothingness.
Yep, that's what Aaron Judge does.
Yeah, it's just then after an hour he violently throws his empty croissant bucket against the wall, and a very scared hotel employee brings him a fresh bucket.
Oh Christ, what are we doing? Okay, well, let's get out of here.
Okay, thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.